Hello everyone, and welcome to the second edition of FBR's monthly interview series, where we gain exclusive insights from a range of individuals in the construction industry. I'm Cameron, and today we're thrilled to have Nina with us. So Nina, welcome to our FBR meeting.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right, it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
So look, as we always do, we're just going to spend a few minutes going through a bit of your background and kind of what people can expect and what your experience has been so far. So let's just dive straight into it. So Nina, can you begin by telling us a bit about yourself and your current role in the construction industry?
Yeah, so I've been in the construction industry for coming up to 6 years. I started off as an apprentice carpenter through Imperial Homes, was on the tools for about 3.5 years, and then decided to take the plunge into management. Did trainee assistant site management for about 1.5 years, and now I've been assistant manager for about 1.5 years now. So yeah.
Wow.
So far so good.
I was going to say, so you've gone through a lot of channels there. To be fair, don't they always say normally really good site managers make from carpentry, you've got that eye for detail to begin with and into it. So
it's a bit annoying because you can't unsee things. So, forever just picking at people is great. They love me.
I'm sure they do, yeah. To hear. So then, okay, so on your career journey so far, can you share sort of how you became an assistant? So from that carpentry into that step.
Yeah, so I was fortunate. I was working for quite a large builder, and there was a lot of opportunities when I was doing my apprenticeship. I was approached very quickly because they, I don't know, saw something in me, or just the fact that I was too slow as a chippy and wanted to get me out of it. I don't know. But yeah, I got offered the trainee assistant site manager. I had a really good apprenticeship manager, so he was fantastic. Put me forward for the opportunity, and yeah, took it. Took the interview, got through it, and yeah, just went up through that. Really got the MVQ, went through one of their internal programs, did quite well with it, and then decided to, I guess, burst out of Barrett's because I got stuck under the apprentice umbrella and wanted to make more of a name for myself, so that's kind of why I left there.
Wow. So can you share with us then, what's a typical day look like for you as an assistant site manager on site?
Every day is different. It's really hard to be generic. Essentially, you're starting early. First thing you should be doing is unlocking the site. You need to be the first person there, making sure that everything is how you left it the night before. You got to make sure that everybody shows up and that they're doing what they said they're going to do. You got to make sure that if there's any problems, you solve them before they become worse. It's really just, it's more of a reactive role, I would say, rather than just going, this is exactly how my day's going to go, because it never happens like that. You go in with an idea and you just got to try and make the best of it as the day goes on, because it never goes to plan, but as long as you're reacting to what happens, you can keep it on track in some way, shape or form.
Absolutely. And to be fair, you're right. I mean, it does vary. I mean, even the simplest things, you might have a train that comes in, all of a sudden gets cancelled, or they're off sick, or they move to a different job, and all of a sudden your whole day plan sort of changes from plot to plot as well. So it must be quite adaptable. You have to be quite adaptable in that type of role as well. Okay, so look, given your experience, what skills do you believe are essential to be a success in construction management?
Time management, key. If you're not keeping up or there on time, or just generally keeping an eye on things, time management is like a really broad thing. It comes in terms of project management as well. It's like keeping the project on time too. So as an individual, you've got to be on the ball, but you've also got to keep the project on the ball. So time management, I would say, is key. Being generally organised is also key. You've got to have good communication. If you're too scared to pick up the phone and yell at somebody because they didn't show up, this is not a career for you. You've got
advice there for other viewers.
You've got to have a thick skin, especially.
Okay, so focus obviously in the industry again, just a little bit for the viewers. So, is there anything about construction that people outside of the field might actually be quite surprised to learn about or know about?
Yeah, it's not as sexist as you think. That is the biggest one I get. Anybody I meet that meets me and says, "Oh, what do you do?" and I say, "Oh, I'm in construction," they're just like, "Oh God, is that not really difficult?" And I'm like, "It's really not what you think it is." I think back in the day, obviously I don't even speak from my experience, I don't doubt that there was that level, but it isn't like that now. There's still levels of it, but it's not anything like I was expecting, because I was nervous going into construction. I really wanted to be a carpenter, and construction carpentry was the only apprenticeship I could find, and my grandfather was particularly worried because he came from trades and he was like worried about me. So I kind of went in thinking that I was gonna be bombarded by the old boys and that they were all gonna hate me. They were the most accepting. All the old boys were just really excited and accepting of the fact that there was a woman there and she was giving it a go. If anything, I got more jip from the people who were my age rather than the people who were older, and I really expected it to be the old boys didn't want the change, but
of course.
it was the complete opposite. So no, I would say there is a level of sexism in there, but it is not going to come from the people you expect it to come from. It will be from the opposite side.
Wow, that's great to know. That really is actually insightful for people who do watch this, because people naturally out there from a female perspective, do get nervous. I still do speak to people out there going, construction's not for me, I'll get like wolf whistled or sexist comments of, well, you can't build that, you're a woman, or whatever else that you hear the comments of. So it's quite refreshing for someone who's actually physically in it, from not just a trades perspective, but right way through training and development, and now on site as a manager. You've been through it all, and to still be here today saying it's the industry that's not, as it used to be, shall we say, a male-dominated, influential construction industry. That's great to hear. So it's quite refreshing. I mean, to be honest with you, that kind of alludes into the next point we're going to make anyway. I mean, as a woman in a traditionally, sort of male-dominated arena, shall we say. So you say it's been quite good, but have you faced any challenges at all in any aspect of that? And
100%.
kind of how have you managed to overcome that?
It was in my apprenticeship, and like I said, it was from the people who were more my age. So I was in my mid-20s when I got my apprenticeship, and I was mostly paired with people who were in their mid-20s, because they were that level of experience that could teach an apprentice, and not the old boys that were going to be slowed down by me. So I was being put with people who were similar age to me, and because they all went in it at 16 and then had to deal with the hazing and the banter side of stuff, they couldn't do that to me, because they were immediately going to be worried that they were going to be, one, branded sexist, and two, how was I going to react? So I just got ignored, and they wouldn't teach me anything. And there was a day when I was just stood up on a roof with them, and they didn't once look at me, answer any of my questions, and I was just stood there all day, and I was like, what the hell's this? So I brought it up with the site manager, and he said, you need to speak to your mentor. So I went to brought it up with the mentor. He was the carpenter's boss, and then they were just like, sometimes there's not always something there for you to do. And I was like, all they were doing was putting screws in, was they couldn't at least explain things to me. So, and then I was known as the girl that squinnied and complained. So I did get branded with that, and I didn't stay with that carpentry firm for too long after that, because some work dried up anyway, and I wasn't learning anything, and I needed to go somewhere else that were going to teach me. So a lot of people would have just told me to put up and shut up, but I'd been wanting to do this my entire life, and I wasn't going to stand there and, one, be treated shit, and two, not learn what I need to learn. That's the whole point of being an apprentice, is to learn. So sometimes you just got to find people that will work with you, not against you. Absolutely.
So, okay, so looking ahead then, if you could have like one insight, maybe 1 or 2 points in the industry, what would you like to see, especially regarding, obviously we've had the diversity and inclusion issues, what would you like to sort of see introduced if you could? 1 or 2 things.
Generally, I think more teaching people how to teach, because you can't just put an apprentice or a trainee with somebody that is a manager and expect them to know how to train them. Doesn't matter how many years of experience they've got, if they're not willing to train somebody, then they're not going to get taught. I was lucky I did get put with some good managers who also had a bit of a want to teach me, but otherwise I could have just been left to the side like I was in my apprenticeship. So, teaching people how to teach, or having specific people that you put to train that side of stuff is fine. Also, now that I am in a level of management, I want to teach, and I would love to be able to teach. I would love to be able to teach a woman. I think it would be, a great way to pass the torch.
Absolutely.
And that is needed. I already know what the industry is like. Somebody coming in from a very green perspective. I don't want to be a mother by any means, but you need to be able to have somebody that you can rely on and not feel like that you are being pushed aside. I'm lucky I've never faced a massive level of sexism, and the sexism I have faced I have been able to handle. But certainly young girls coming into the industry are going to be nervous, and they prey upon that nerves, and they will use it as banter, and you will get phased out, and you just can't let it get to you. So having somebody that can tell them to F off, will give you that confidence to say, hey then, this isn't all right.
Sometimes a woman needs a woman there to understand what they've gone through, to go through that support network. It's not saying that a man can't support a woman, but in the same breath, if it's the man that's doing it, they may not see the psychological damage it does, they may not see the confidence that it does. Whereas a woman can, because they've experienced it. So I think it's a very pivotal and vital point to make, that actually having a woman there to nurture, to manage, to be a support network can only mean better gains for people that remain in the industry, but actually to a higher success rate staying in it as well.
And also touching on a point you just sort of said with the whole nurturing side of things, actually a woman being on site, you do find, especially mental health in the construction industry, is a massive
Absolutely.
Massive problem. Men do find it easy to open up to a woman because guys will go to their mates, and especially in the construction, it's the lads world, they're not going to get the same like level of sympathy that they would. They're just like, oh mate, just get over it, blah blah blah. I've had trades just come to me or start talking about generally the job, and then they'll just start talking about themselves and talking about what they're going through. And I had this one guy when I was working at Barracks who regularly would just come and have a chat with me, and all I did was listen, but it would make a massive difference to his day.
Absolutely.
And you could just tell that it didn't need to be anything other than somebody that could just listen to him. But anybody else he may never have opened that up, and just to know that could have made some sort of difference to his life is important.
Yeah, well, basically, lastly, on to the last part of it then. So, for those considering a career in construction, what advice would you give them to succeed? Not necessarily just being a female. I mean, obviously that would be a great quota because that's what you are, to inspire.
Yeah.
But yeah, what sort of advice would you give people to help them succeed when they're first coming into the industry?
Be realistic. Do not walk in and expect everybody to respect you straight away. As much as the construction industry is old, the construction industry is new, and a lot of the young people will come in, and as much as we're trying to phase out the bad, they do end up kind of adopting this sort of old style of being harsh and hard, and that it isn't somewhere that can grow. Every industry needs to accept this is the way the world is now. We've got members of the LGBTQ+ community, myself included. I'm a very proud bisexual woman, but I don't go around on site parading that because I can't be as proud about that on site, because I immediately get questions about what do you do in your spare time kind of thing, and I'm like, that's not
your
okay,
business.
that's not your business. But I would love to be able to have conversations like that with people in a safe space, and I can't do that in the construction industry yet. Also, I'm personal, I don't talk about that stuff anyway, but that's the kind of point I want to get across of coming into it, be realistic of who you are, know who you are as a person, and embrace who you are, but don't feel like you have to tell the entire industry that. Just come into it and push in the way that you can without pushing yourself out at the same time.
That's amazing. That's really great advice as well. So I think that will help a lot of people, especially like I said, young women coming into it. This would be quite an inspiring interview for people to watch and hear your experiences and what advice you give them. So really appreciate your time in doing that for these people really in particular. So well look, that's come to the end of it, unfortunately. It's been good to have a little catch up chat and stuff. I think it's been going really well, and to learn your experiences has been great, so thank you. So
thank you for having me.
yeah, just want to say it's been a pleasure talking to you, so thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries.
I'll go back to my annual leave now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, particularly coming on annual leave to do this interview for us today, so big thank you to Nina.
And it was my birthday yesterday, so double points.
Oh, look at the double points as well. Happy birthday to you, Nina,
Thank
for
you.
yesterday as well. So
Yes.
even better, let's see,
Yeah.
the commitment that she's given to us is fantastic, as always. So
Do I get my money now?
yeah, you get £10 at the end. That'll be directly into your bank account by the end of the day, right? So, no worries. But look, everyone, thank you very much for obviously for the viewers for joining us today. We hope you found today's conversation as inspiring and informative, obviously, as we did. I mean, I think it's a really, really good point to have this interview for women in construction in particular. So, Nina, I think that's brilliant. So, thank you very much for that. So, yeah, if you are considering a career in construction or simply want to learn more about us as a business at FBR, be sure to check out our website and follow us on social media. Links are available at the end of this video. So, all we can say is thanks very much for your time, and don't miss out on next month's exciting interview with somebody else. Thanks very much, and have a good day.